I have something very exciting for you today. I've been telling you for months that we have been in the process of developing a critical thinking class, or a critical thinking mini-series, which will be composed of somewhere between 12 and 15 episodes, pieces, parts, and it will include such topics as understanding the difference between good and bad arguments, epistemology, critical thinking, logical fallacies, etc., etc., etc. We have also, since April of 2017, been raising funds using a platform called Patreon. Our particular page is at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. And what we have on Patreon currently as a target is 2,100 patrons. And what I've been promising to you is that when we reach 2,100 patrons, we will record, edit, and upload the multi-part critical thinking miniseries. We will first upload it and distribute it and make it available to the patrons, but eventually for full distribution, because I think that the content is so important. Critical thinking skills are so lacking in the United States. I have for you today an almost completely finished version of one clip. Now remember, I said it would be 12 to 15 parts. I've got one example of what the series will be like. This is from the middle, right? This is from the meat of the mini-series. The topics are going to range, as I said. This particular clip I'm going to play for you today is our part on validity and soundness of arguments. The audio from it is one part, but the animation and the video component, which producer Noah Ferguson has been working on, is excellent. And it's really some of the best stuff that I believe we will have put out when we finally do. So if you're just listening today, find this clip online and check out the great visual components. This is what we're shooting for 2,100 patrons for, right? This is one part of the eventual mini-series on critical thinking and logical fallacies. Let's take a look. Let's take a listen. We hear the words valid and validity used all the time, but I want to talk about what validity means in a technical sense with regard to something we've already discussed, deductive arguments. As a reminder, a deductive argument is an argument where the premises logically guarantee the conclusion. For example, if A is B and B is C, A must be C. There is no alternative. The concept of validity is a tool for evaluating the internal logic of a deductive argument. To say that an argument is valid is not the same as saying that the argument is good or sound. For example, imagine the premise that all dogs can fly and the second premise that Fido is a dog. The conclusion would be that Fido can fly. Although it might seem counterintuitive, this is a valid argument. An argument is valid if the truth of the premises would guarantee the truth of the conclusion. If it is true that all dogs can fly, then it must be true that Fido the dog can fly. But let's put this argument under more scrutiny. This is a valid argument, but it is not a sound argument. Soundness is an evaluation of both whether an argument is valid and whether its premises are true. A sound argument must be both valid and have true premises. Not all dogs can fly, so one of the premises is false, and our argument is not sound. So validity and soundness are properties of an argument, and truth is a property of a statement. Here's an argument that is sound because it is both valid and has true premises. All U.S. senators are politicians. Ted Cruz is a U.S. senator. The conclusion is that Ted Cruz is a politician. It's a horrible reality, but it is a reality and it is a sound argument. Here's an argument where the premises are true, but the argument is invalid, so the argument is not sound. Paris is a city. Germany is a country. Conclusion, Paris is the capital of Germany. It's not sound because that conclusion is not guaranteed by the truth of the premises. Or what about this one? Marco Rubio is a Republican, which is true. Hillary Clinton is a Democrat, which is true. And the conclusion is that Jill Stein is a member of the Green Party. In this particular case, both of the premises are true, and the conclusion happens to be true, but the two premises don't logically guarantee that conclusion. So the argument is invalid, and therefore it is not sound. We should only accept conclusions of arguments that are both valid and sound. Wow.
Yeah.
Impressive, right? I mean, this is 12 to 15 parts talking through these exact types of critical thinking questions that would be so great if they were being taught in school. They're just not. So I guess we'll have to teach them to people.
And I'm like a smart person, but I'm also learning a lot here.
Absolutely. So this is a donor goal. When we get to 2,100 donors, as they are called on Patreon, patrons, or Patreon. I like saying Patreon because I heard it once online and it's so funny. You go to patreon.com/David Pakman Show, contribute $1, contribute $10, whatever. When we get to 2,100 patrons, I will have more news about the critical thinking mini-series. Let's take a break. We will be back after this.